So hi, Megan, and hello to the BoostHER network, and welcome to the continuation of our FEMTalks series. So Megan MacKay is joining us today to give her insights as a powerful woman and successful entrepreneur. But before she starts, I'm just going to introduce myself. So I'm Michaela Forte, and I'm this year's graphic designer for BoostHER. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know you, Megan. So let's jump right into the interview. Could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. This is such an exciting opportunity and also so amazing to see what BoostHER has been able to accomplish over the year. And I'm so excited for what's to come next for the organization. A little bit about myself. I graduated from Western in 2019. I majored in American history for the first 2 years, and then I went to Ivey for my HBA. When I was at Western, I was so involved in the extracurricular community because I thought that there were so many great opportunities that came from that. One of the big things that I was focused on when I was at Western was promoting social entrepreneurship on campus. And I think you saw that reflected in starting an Actus Western and seeing the growth that the chapters had there. And then also founding a social enterprise called RollUP, where the goal is to provide affordable mobility devices to anybody in financial need. And then right now for my day job, I currently work at Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment, and I build sports marketing partnerships for the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Toronto Raptors, Toronto FC, and the Toronto Argonauts. So a bit of a mix, but excited to dabble in it all.
Yeah, it sounds very cool. And I'm sure our viewers will be inspired by your career path and how Enactus played a part in where you are today, especially because BoostHER is partnered closely with Enactus. So now that we know you're a recent grad of Ivey, could you tell us about your experience at Ivey and how you balanced your own entrepreneurial venture with your coursework?
Yeah, it's a great question. So for those that might know, Ivey has 2 years. So you spend your third and fourth year at Ivey. And in your third year, which is HBA1, you have a really regimented schedule. So between 8 and 1, you're in classes, and there's a bunch of extracurricular components as well, whether it's case competitions or wanting to get involved in Ivey clubs and research opportunities and the like. So it was a lot of work to manage, but I think that what was great is A, the consistent schedule and knowing when we were in class, and then B, just being really intentional about how time was used and trying to maximize that time. Something that I always did when I was a student was structure my work day like a true 40 or 50 hour work week, and really try and focus on actually doing work during the day and not procrastinating, so that at night you could hang out with your roommates or go out or do whatever you wanted to do. And then of course, like staying healthy and active while you're doing that. So I would also say that Ivey unlocked a lot of great resources for entrepreneurs, whether it's the Ivey Entrepreneurship Center or whether it's the access to mentors and professors that are truly industry leaders. We really took advantage of that. And of course, the different entrepreneurial pitch competitions and business plan competitions actually provided a lot of the seed funding that helped RollUP get off the ground from the beginning. So I think that while it was definitely a lot of work and a lot of time spent, and there were some long nights, sleepless nights, I think that overall the opportunity to start a business while at Ivey was the perfect opportunity to see it flourish.
For sure. That's really nice to hear that while those opportunities are available, some people might not know about them, but they are things that can really boost you to success. And that if you don't have it figured out in the beginning, hard work and determination will help you kind of persevere and find success. So as the founder of RollUP Solutions and being an entrepreneur yourself, what advice could you give to our viewers who are aspiring entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I would recommend, and I think that students ask me this a lot, and I by no means have it all figured out, but I think the biggest thing is just to start. So if you have an idea, whether it's recycling old wheelchairs or whether it's starting a scrunchie line, or maybe it's a swimmer line, or maybe you want to start a service tutoring other students or whatever it is, you can get a lot of paralysis wondering, oh, is this going to work? Can I make this happen? But why not start small? Why not make a couple and see how it goes? Why not bring on a couple tutoring students and see if you can grow it? I think the biggest thing is like where you start definitely won't be where you end up. I remember when we first started RollUP, we knew that we could get wheelchairs donated to us from community members, but we had no idea how to actually upcycle them in order to give them to people in financial need. So I have a very distinct memory of accepting a donation that we had no idea what to do with and standing in a storage locker being like, okay, what I've learned from this is that I definitely cannot fix it ourselves. And then from there, going and sourcing a community partner in Goodwill to help us with that process. So you don't need to have like an 85-page business plan with hundreds of thousands of dollars in funding and a fully formed founding team. You can start small, get started, get going, and I think learn along the way to make it possible. And I think that if you can identify one small thing to start, do it, and do a little bit every single day, and then from there you'll be surprised about how far you can come. And that applies to most things, whether it's a business, whether it's a hobby, whether it's a new skill, a little bit of work. Get going every day and you can accomplish amazing things.
Yeah, that's great advice even for our coursework right now. Just getting over that hump of starting sometimes can be the hardest thing, but if you don't start, you never will kind of make something flourish. So
yeah, and I think that like on that point, like a lot of people don't start something because they're anxious or they think it's not going to work out or they procrastinate as a result. But trust me, you can do it. And if you mess up along the way, like you don't have to worry, you can correct it. No one actually cares as much as you do.
True. Well, that's really great advice. Thank you. And especially coming from a woman like yourself who has established herself in the business world. So as you might know, BoostHER has the goal of helping women feel empowered in the workplace. And in your experience, have you found your industry of sports business to be male dominated? Being a woman in your industry has felt disadvantageous, and how have you navigated this?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think before I started to work in the sports industry, I did believe that it was male dominated. And I thought that, oh, I don't know if there's going to be room for me on this team or in these companies because I am different. And when I started at MLSE, I was on an all male team. It was a sales team selling partnerships into the marketplace. And at first, that was really intimidating. But I think what I realized really quickly is that they weren't making me feel that way. I was making myself feel that way. And I was struggling from some pretty severe imposter syndrome. But what I quickly realized is that, yes, while my team coincidentally did have all men, there were lots of other women in my department, in my company, in my industry in general that could also serve as great mentors, but that the men on my team were also fabulous as well. And I think that what I learned very quickly is that it doesn't matter who you are. I think every single person can provide a really valuable and a really unique perspective. And that if anything, me being younger, me being fresh out of school, me being a woman did provide a different perspective, which was valuable. And I think that if you let your work speak for itself, that'll help you overcome that sense of imposter syndrome. So for me, I was really, really anxious and unsure of myself, wanting to close a deal and wanting to get a deal done because that was part of my job description. And what I realized is that as I went along the process of doing that, as I got confidence along the way, as I got better at doing the functions of my job, I felt better about myself, and that male dominated or not, it doesn't matter. If you have that sense of self-confidence, you can do it. And it's not something I've mastered. It's something that I still work on every single day. And I think that, well, that might be heightened in an industry that is more traditional. It's up to us to fix it. And I think that we can do a lot to make that happen.
Yeah, that's so inspiring. One of our other FEMTalkers actually spoke about that, how sometimes the barrier of being female is all in your head. And, once you realize that it's not in fact a barrier and you're just maybe imagining it, there's so much more that you can do on your team.
Yeah, and I think like something that's been really inspirational and that I've seen like be integrated at MLSE since I joined was, of course, like having predominantly female directors on our team, which I think is pretty badass, and also like having a renewed focus in sport on equity, diversity, and inclusion. So we have a new senior leader that manages that function at our organization. We've also seen a big commitment from all the professional leagues that we work in to continue to advance women in sport as athletes, and also women working in the front offices and in the corporate offices as well. So lots of progress to come. And you're right, a lot of the time you're in your own way.
Right. Well, that's great to hear that there's more female development in the C-suite kind of, and hopefully other corporations take after that. So could you tell us a bit more about why female empowerment is so important to you, and maybe why you were inspired to become involved with BoostHER this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I think female empowerment is so important, kind of for all the reasons that we've discussed. I think that when we have a diversity of opinion, a diversity of thought, a diversity of ability, that really amazing things can happen for nonprofits, for business, for government, for sports leagues. Like the opportunities go on. And I think like that's reflected in the data. And so when I saw the opportunity to be part of BoostHER and to hopefully provide support to a younger girl at Western that facing a lot of the same things that I faced, and I can hopefully advise her or point her in the right direction, or at least just be a sounding board for any questions. I think that that's something that I would have always wanted when I was at Western. And so I really wanted to be part of this. And I think that my opinion is that empowered women and empower women. And so the ultimate, I think, like display of that is, again, like every woman's success is also my success, and how can I be a part of that community that like then makes that possible. So this is the first step in that, and I hope that this is something that I'm always able to do and always able to support, because I think that this is a phenomenal initiative, that the motion behind it is so important as well.
Yeah, well, we're really excited that you're able to join us today and that you continue to support us. And one of our programs, which you just talked about, the mentorship program, we started this year, and we were hoping that you could tell us about any role models or mentors or allies that you've had through your career and how they contributed to your development and success.
Yeah, I think that this is such a great question. And I think that there's so many different people that have contributed to like me finding myself and hopefully me being successful in however you define success. And people that come to mind right away are, of course, like my immediate family. I think that I lean on them a lot, and there's a lot of mentorship I've taken from the business world, but also from life in general. I think big mentors of mine when I first started RollUP were, of course, our leaders and mentors at Propel, which is Western's Entrepreneurship Center, and also the leaders at Innovation Works in downtown London, which is, again, a social innovation hub. They were always so helpful and so supportive, and we found a lot of kindred spirits there. I'd say the Enactus Canada front office and the Enactus Canada students in general, nothing's more inspiring to me than seeing groups of students from all over the country build businesses and initiatives that are entirely student run and impacting the world in big, big ways. And I would say a final group that really inspires me is my friends. And I think directly of my roommates at Western. There were 6 of us and we all lived in a house. Everyone was in a different major. Everybody was in a different program. Everybody was in a different spot. But I think that they were all so incredible and inspiring in their own ways. And it was like amazing to see like women thriving, not only in business, but in science and sociology, in nursing and media, and just getting to celebrate their successes along the way and create our own little girl tribe, if you will.
Oh, that's really lovely. And I mean, it's nice to hear that sometimes your mentors can be just the people that you're surrounded with every day. They don't have to be, you know, the CEO of some huge company. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time today to join us for our FEMTalks series. We appreciate all the advice you've given us and look forward to seeing all of the great things you will accomplish in your career. So thank you so much, Megan.
Thank you so much, Michaela. It was so great chatting with you. And if anybody has any questions, you can always find me on LinkedIn and message me there, or get in touch with the BoostHER team and they'll connect through. So thanks so much. This was awesome, and best of luck with the rest of the initiative.
Thank you so much, Megan. Bye.
Bye.